Angela Pate is the Executive Director of FloridaWorks, the workforce board for Alachua and Bradford counties. She has been in the workforce industry for over 7 years. She has a degree from the College of Architecture and Fine Arts from the University of Florida and is pursuing a Master's of Entrepreneurship at UF. She has served as chair on several local boards, including the Alachua County Coalition for the Homeless and Hungry, the Downtown Redevelopment Advisory Board, and the Poverty Reduction Advisory Board. Ms. Pate also has over 25 years of experience in the architecture and construction industries and in software and hardware development. Welcome, Angela.
Thanks, Mark. Good to see you.
Angela, let's talk a little bit to start about the kind of the history or the evolution of the FloridaWorks program.
Sure. FloridaWorks is another name for the Alachua Bradford Regional Workforce Board, which is a board comprised of appointees from both Alachua and Bradford County, charged with the task of helping people get jobs, stay in their jobs, and thrive in those jobs. It's one of 24 regional workforce boards throughout the state of Florida, which is funded by your tax dollars. It comes actually from the federal government down to the states, and then from the states down to the local regions.
How long has this structure or this program been in place?
The workforce board's been in existence in its current form since about '96. It's been about, I guess, 12 years now. Mm-hmm. And we just renamed ourselves FloridaWorks a few years ago and shifted some things around, but it's been around for quite a while.
And is FloridaWorks the name of the entire statewide program, or does each area have
Each region
discretion?
has its own name, comes up with its own plans and strategies and activities and services that fit its local community as per the design of the federal legislation that put the boards in place in the first place.
And how does the funding work? Is it a multiple funding source kind of program?
Most of it comes, in fact, 99.9% of it comes from federal money through the Department of Labor. Mm-hmm. And it's WIA Investment Act of '96 at the federal level created the workforce boards at the regional level to serve local needs. Mm-hmm. And so the funding is allocated through different funding streams, but mostly all from the Department of Labor. Some of them come from actually the Department of Agriculture, but most of it's Department of Labor, and it serves different kinds of populations.
I see. Now, as far as our local office goes, where is the Florida Workforce Board?
Where is it? We have a one-stop career center here in Gainesville, down on 441 south, kind of almost to the prairie. It's called FloridaWorks One-Stop Career Center. And there's also one in Stark, up in Bradford County, which is right on 301, just kind of on the south side of Stark. They're in a shopping mall. And the addresses are available on the website at floridaworksonline.com, and I'm sure it'll be made available later.
And you're the executive director of both of those offices? That's one kind of organization?
Yes, I'm actually the executive director of the board, and the board then helps to provide these services through those career centers. That's correct.
I looked at a PowerPoint that you sent me with the pictures of all the board members, and I was quite impressed. That's a pretty heavy crew you have there.
It's a large board. There are 37 board members, and by design, the legislation, created a convening of the community. Mm-hmm. What the theory is that you have the heads of the educational institutions. We have the superintendents of both Alachua and Bradford County school systems, the president of the community college. We have other educational, University of Florida, St. Leo, private colleges like City College, all the educators on the board, along with economic development, the chambers of commerce, people related to the growth of our community, and businesses. 51% of the boards always have to be made up of business owners.
I couldn't help but notice that you shamelessly went to your Downtown Redevelopment Advisory Board cohorts over the years to get some of them to join the board.
I have. They're some of the best business leaders in town. You know, they're strategic thinkers. They can really create some leadership that we need. We need business ingenuity to help the community go in the direction we want it to go. And just as you have comprehensive planning and land use, you also have the workforce, which is the talent. The biggest asset for the businesses are the people that work for them. So it's huge.
I'm going to put you on the spot now because I asked one of your employees sent me a list of the services you provide, and to tell you the truth, I was pretty surprised. I knew that you got jobs for people and had ways of doing that, but when I looked at the 3-page list of services that you provide, I really, I'm sorry to say, I had no idea the extent of it.
Good thing we're telling people about it.
That's right. I'm just going to kind of go through a little lightning round here of some of the services.
Cool, because I couldn't name them all if you asked me to. I was worried about that.
Yeah, I decided not to do the pop quiz on the air. The career counselor and case managers, what do they do?
They listen to someone's current situation, find out what their interests are, find out what their aptitudes are, find out where they are wanting to go, and help them chart a path to get there, whether it be through formal education like going back to get a nursing degree, or whether it's short-term targeted training for a specific piece of machinery, whatever the need is, they create a career plan and a career path to help that person achieve their goals.
And I guess I should have started with you obviously recommend people come down and
Absolutely.
come to the office and sit down with
Well, not only that, but they can go online and register and look through a tremendous tool of web-based resources to not only look at what the jobs that are available, but the Employ Florida Marketplace system that we use, which is the statewide system that we're part of, has tremendous capability, for example, to transfer skills from one career to another. So if you're, in respiratory therapy and you want to see what it would take to get a nursing degree, it can show you and explain exactly how long it would take for that process of training. So there's a lot of tools, even if you don't come into our office, that are available on the website. But by all means, coming into the office is a great way to get connected with the people that can help you face to face.
And speaking of websites, so much of the job market these days, getting information is web-based and online.
Absolutely.
I understand that you can help folks get connected to the web, too.
Yes, we have classes ongoing in the One Stop to teach people about computers. If you're not somebody that feels real comfortable with computers, if you don't have email or access to the internet, we have open labs there for anybody to come in and use at any time during the day. Free classes on all kinds of computer training, whether it's just internet or webmail, all the way through Office, Word and Excel and those kind of things if you need it for jobs. And
you can also, can you hop onto a computer to actually go out there and explore?
Yep, there's public labs there, in the resource room we call it.
And all of the other normal things that, help people, telephones, fax.
Telephones, fax, help with your resume. Assistance in interview skills. We actually have a video interview system where you can watch yourself be interviewed. It's a pretty broad range of kind of both standard and not standard services.
And now the resume assistance, do you offer a counseling in terms of, okay, what are you interested in, and let's design a resume based on that?
Absolutely. A lot of people have multiple versions of their resume depending on which, particular job they're applying for, and we have people in the resource room to help you with it, as well as the tool online steps you through it very methodically. And I just like to make a plug that the most important thing when you do fill out your resume is your work history. Make sure that you clearly show what your experience is. It's really important and probably the most common thing that people don't do.
Have you ever thought of doing like a job fair?
Oh, we do them all the time. It's to the point now where I can't keep up with them. They're everywhere from individual employers simply doing a job fair for just their needs to large events with, dozens of employers there. We have them going on in Stark up at the Chamber Conference Center, which are really stupendous. We have them going on in multiple locations around Alachua County. I know one time we had a job fair down at the One Stop with one employer. We had cars lined up all the way down 441. It got really crowded. And it's very dynamic, process to match the employers and the job seekers together.
Professional networking group. What is that?
Those are for, that particular group focuses on people with professional skills, a higher level of education, people who are shifting careers for whatever reasons, whether it's personal or corporate, downsizing, and they they have kind of different needs than an entry-level job seeker or someone who's really trying to get a better job than they had before. Networking between them often benefits them, just like you find businesses networking together in different, groups around town. A lot of the people that go through the professional networking group and get employed come back regularly and stay networked because it helps them find other professionals with high levels of talent. It's a really good resource to connect to finding that key person that's got those skills that are not so easy to train for in 3 months, that you need somebody with years of knowledge and experience.
Right. Now, Angela, one of the most difficult parts of getting a job is the interview process, and I know that you do something very innovative with video and interview training. Tell me about that. We have
a system that is used actually in many places in the workforce system around the state and in other states. It's a virtual video interview, basically, and you sit down, much as we are right here, and there's a camera on you, and someone asks you questions, and you answer the questions, and then you can see yourself in the interview process, and someone who's coaching you can help you to learn better skills. Like if someone asks you how much you want to get paid, find a skillful way to say, well, I think a fair salary would be based on what the position's responsibilities are and how much, the skill levels need, without actually naming a dollar amount, whereas if you're in the middle of your video and you go, I want $100,000 a year, that's probably not a good plan.
You're not supposed to blurt out, how much do you have?
Not a good idea.
Okay.
Not a good idea. So those kind of skills, as you go through the process, you kind of get to rehearse, basically.
Right. Once you get over the initial pain of seeing yourself on video.
Well, it's good for you because that's how the employer is going to see you.
That's right.
So it's important to know how you dress, how you sit, what you look like. Are you sitting there fidgeting all the time?
Right.
What's going on?
Tell me about the FloridaWorks youth programs.
The youth programs are really dynamic. They start with all kinds of workshops. The purpose is to help youth who are in school stay in school, who are skills deficient to gain in their skills if they're not doing well in school, to absolutely deter dropouts, and help people when they get out of school to find their right career path. If they're not going to go on to college, which some people are shocked to realize that only about a third or less of the people who go through high school actually end up going on to college. A third of them drop out. A third of them never go on past high school. Mm-hmm. So if your choice is to not go on to higher education, there are a lot of other career paths that you can go into that are very viable careers. So the youth program is there for helping people to make those life decisions at a critical time when you're making decisions that do affect you for a long period after you get out of high school.
Angela, I understand that there are subsidies available for your summer employment program for youth.
Yes, we have paid internships in the summer for the youth, and they are brought about both from the generosity of our local employers who often pay to get interns into their businesses, as well as through our federal funds. We cover many of them ourselves, and they're there to help kids get in a real-life experience of what it means to go to work every day.
And there's a Job Corps kind of recruiter right in-house?
We do. We've had, a good partnership with Job Corps for many years. Mm-hmm. The Job Corps program is, of course, national, and the educational processes that they go on there are very complementary to what we do. So we work closely.
I'm going to kind of veer off here a little bit, but it just dawned on me that at a recent county commission meeting, you all got some funding, did you not, for a partnership? Mm-hmm. I guess it was the Job Corps partnership that made me think about an interesting partnership with the county and the St. Francis House.
Yes, we have a Homeless to Work program, which started through a grant from the state and did very well. We had some real good success in getting some of the harder to serve populations. It's kind of difficult to get a job when you don't have a home and a place to recoup at the end of your day. So we put a case manager in St. Francis House, and they do a great job there. Once the grant ran out, then we wanted to sustain the program because it was having such a good impact on our community. So we did go to the city and the county commission, and they were very helpful to keep that staff person funded so that we could continue that program.
Go to the people who need it.
Absolutely.
Seems to make sense.
Yeah. And there's a lot of them that are being quite successful at landing jobs. We've got a great bank of employers that are being very helpful at getting people. Usually, I know that you're aware, people go into homelessness and out of homelessness. The majority of them are not chronically homeless. Some disaster happens in their life. The typical homeless person in Gainesville is only homeless for 3 years max. And so helping them transition out and back to their careers or what they were doing before or to a new career is the purpose of the program.
You know, it's amazing the breadth of things that you do. I mean, everyone from professionals with higher education looking for work to someone at the St. Francis House.
Yeah.
What type of support services in terms of subsidies can you provide to folks?
We have, of course, training, which is not really a support service, but it's one of the main things that we help people with. And that can be from, again, a full, 2-year degree down to very short targeted safety training or something like that. Then in order to make sure that you stay in your training or that you stay at work, we have subsidies or support services for transportation, which is probably the biggest one. We have all kinds of bus passes and gas cards. We even give away cars to people that are in partnership. We're in partnership with the Dignity Project, and they have cars that people donate to them. They train at-risk youth to learn to be mechanics and fix them, and then we buy them from them, which supports their program, and we give them to the people, for instance, transitioning out of welfare, our welfare transition program, so that they then have transportation to take that job that gets them off the welfare rolls.
And before we leave the training side of this, am I hearing you correctly that depending on the individual's income situation or financial situation, you have scholarship or subsidy available for the actual training piece of it?
Absolutely. We put people through nursing school, truck driving school. We try to focus on the most in-demand occupations, and we shoot for high skill, high wage as much as possible. We kind of break our system down into high skill, high wage, better jobs, better wages, and first jobs, first wages for entry-level young people or people just entering the workforce. So the training is across the board in all of those programs and is a main factor of what we provide for people is skills, skill building, from soft skills all the way up through high-level, technical professions.
I noticed that Jackson Sasser from Santa Fe is on your board.
Yeah.
Do you have
huge partner,
direct relationship with Santa Fe?
All the time. Yeah. They are one of our probably our biggest, well, without a doubt, our biggest UF and Santa Fe are the biggest partners we have in the community. And all the training programs we do include many training providers, but Santa Fe is a huge part of that. And they're so great about focusing the training where we need it. If a particular employer comes in and they need a particular skill set for 50 people, 100 people, 200 people, 10 people, whatever the case may be, they help us to provide that targeted training.
Do you work with companies, for example, some of the big warehouse operations that have found a home in Alachua?
We do.
They get in touch with you?
We were very pleased to be able to support Walmart when they opened their distribution center. We took in 7,000 applications. They hired 700 people. We processed all 7,000 of them, and then if they work with us, the advantage is that the ones that they don't hire, then we have in our system to help move on to other positions with other employers. So we like those big recruitment projects because they really bring people in.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have any idea how many people you have found employment for or served? Or?
Well, it depends on the year. The funding cycle's kind of been dropping over the past, 8 years. I know in 2004-05 we served about 20,000 and we were at about 46% placement that year.
Wow.
Then it dropped down until 2005-2006 right at that year we started going back up again. This year we're projected to serve over that. We'll be at about 25,000 people. A lot of it has become because we've automated it with these web-based tools that now allow us to access more people with less resources. Our placement rate should be around the same. We're constantly striving to get that higher. My goal is to get it up in the 60s and 70%, placement of everybody that comes in our system. So thousands, if we can make it above 10,000 placements, we'd be in heaven, but we're probably not quite there yet.
Going back to some of the services you provide, and you were speaking about some of the wonderful partnerships you have. I've been a big fan over the years of Three Rivers Legal System, and I see you have a relationship there.
Yeah, they're a fabulous partner in our one-stop career center that gives services to people that need it. We have Forward March that helps provide training and services. There's a lot of great community. Our actual name is FloridaWorks, a community partnership, Alachua Bradford Community Partnership. So that's what we pride ourselves in.
The Experience Works program. I'm trying to trip you up here. Yeah. You can't possibly know all of these.
I try to keep up. That's a great program. That's a program that is seniors who want to get back in the workforce or who need some help getting into the workforce. A lot of wives that have never worked who have who've gotten to be senior in age and they've lost their husband and all of a sudden they find themselves needing to get into the workforce. They provide an opportunity for them to come in and train with employers and start kind of at entry-level places, but then they can grow into careers. So it's specifically for senior citizens and people that have a lot of experience and wisdom, with them when they come in the door. It's really a tremendous asset and a growing asset. In fact, we had the president of the State Workforce Board down here last week talking to our board, and he pointed out that nationally 1 in 4 workers is retired. In Florida, it's 1 in 3 workers is retired. And I believe he said it was by 2015 it's going to be 1 in 2 workers. I'm not sure the year, but very shortly it's going to be half of the people, in our community are retired.
As we boomers start retiring. Yeah.
And the workforce is shrinking. I don't know if you're aware of that, but between now and 2030, as the boomers retire, there's going to be 8 million workers short nationwide in I think it's 2010. So we just don't have enough bodies to train, and of the bodies we do have, we can't get enough of them trained. And the businesses are the ones that are suffering because they just can't find good help. And just about anybody you talk to will tell you how hard it is to find good people to work for them. It's not because, the rest of the world is so much better than us. It's just that we don't have people. They're just retiring. And it's going to be that way for another couple decades. So.
I know your focus is employment, but I understand that you offer some counseling in terms of unemployment compensation also. You can help folks with that?
Yeah, the unemployment compensation system has really become very automated recently. You can actually do it from your house. If you don't have computer access or you need assistance, you can certainly come down to the One Stop and we can assist you in our resource room. But yep, we certainly help people get their unemployment claims filed and help them do all the necessary, hoop jumping, if I can get away with saying that, to get the job done.
I think some people are just daunted by the whole system, particularly if they're not computer savvy. What about veterans? I understand that you have some special services for veterans.
We do. We always have priority of service for vets. Everything from, all of our typical services to we work with the VA, we work with the other agencies in the community, and a lot of employers prefer vets as a priority on their jobs, so we screen for them. It's a high priority in our system.
Angela, something that I have found quite interesting over the last few months in working with Rada on your staff, and you, and John Skelly, who's our poverty reduction director with the county, is the Green ride-sharing carpooling software that you guys have begun working with.
We're excited about that.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, we recognized early on that transportation is a huge barrier for keeping employment or obtaining employment. If you live, say, 30 miles out of town, last year, before the gas prices started going up so high, AAA was noting that it costs 48 cents a mile to drive anywhere by the time you include your car and the gas and the maintenance and insurance and everything. So, if you do the math, it works out to, sometimes $5,000 or more a year. And the average salary around here is $34,000, $37,000. So, but if you're below that average salary, in the $25,000 or $20,000 range, and you're using $5,000 of it to get back and forth to work, it's prohibitive, and a lot of people just can't afford it. A large percentage of our population commutes into Alachua County to work. I believe it's like almost 46% of the people at Shands are commuting from outside Alachua County. So driving is expensive, and we were trying to find ways to help mitigate that since the bus system's only in Gainesville. How do people afford to come into Gainesville to work? And we did a lot of research, looked at a lot of other communities, found a web-based ride-sharing system that was being successfully used in Colorado and Hawaii and some other places, often in mountainous areas where people are commuting down into the cities. They're also using the one we chose down in South Florida. At the same time, the University of Florida happened to be researching the same thing for their sustainability efforts, and they came up with the same solution, which was gratifying, and they implemented it for their faculty and staff. We've implemented it for the rest of the community. Everybody can access it in Alachua and Bradford counties to find people in their area. What it means is that you confidentially input your information, your address, where you work, your schedule, and no one else can see that information, but they can, after you put yours in, a map comes up, and it has little pins all over it of people who match your schedule going to roughly the same place you're going. And you have the ability only to click on their email address. You can't even see it all, but you can send them an email, and they can then return their phone number if they want to contact you. You can get together. You can work out arrangements to share rides back and forth. And it becomes an efficient way to cover that transportation barrier that's just so hard to reach. A lot of professionals are using it successfully at the University of Florida. We wanted to make it accessible to the people who really need it the most, which are the ones that have the lower incomes.
And just to be clear, this is not a workforce or a FloridaWorks client service. This is available to
That's
anyone
correct.
that
It
wants
is.
to use it.
It's available to anybody in the community at any time. It's floridaworks.greenride.com, and we hope it'll take off. The more people that use it, the better your chance of finding the match. So we encourage everybody to get on there and consider the option of sharing a ride and contributing to saving our environment, helping our county keep down the costs for our road systems, cut traffic in town for the rest of us that are right here in the downtown area or in the more congested areas around town. And, it seems like a win-win-win, the more people that use it.
Can't think of a better note to end on. Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure. Good to see you.
We used to write letters to each other a lot. A lot of the notes, they were just really dark.
Expressions of anger. When he was mad, he hit things.
He said something to me about killing himself.
You have to take it seriously. The risk is too great.
You have to try and help them get help.
Tell somebody, tell an adult, counselor, parent, whatever.
What are you going to do? Let them destroy themselves? I don't see much of a choice at all.
Ron loves working on cars. The hours are long and the work can be tough. Ron has diabetes. Finding out about choices has kept Ron's health tuned up and running smooth. Alachua County's Choices, healthcare for the working uninsured. To find out if you qualify for Choices, call 352-264-6772 or visit us online at www.acchoices.com.